I did want to share real quick that, I talked about being insecure about my readings. And then I got this beautiful feedback I read for this woman yesterday. I've read for like 4 or 5 times. And this woman came through that was from her church that she kind of knew, but didn't know. And she gave me all this, she said she died of COVID within 2 weeks of getting it. She was an older woman, had white hair and a gray suit, and she was just really lovely and appreciated the contact between her and the person I was reading for, and that their smiles on Sunday church was just something she looked forward to. And the woman was like, I think it's this woman, but it's weird. I didn't know her that well. Today, she sent me a picture, and the obituary picture is this woman, this older woman, all put together with white hair and a gray suit. And she died of COVID within 2 weeks of getting it. And it was a member of her church. And I just was like, I just needed that,
Wow, that's amazing.
It just felt so good. And I just realized that it's the younger part of me that questions, am I good? Am I good enough? Am I doing a good job? Um, and that just felt good. So I just wanted to share.
Congratulations. That's
It's
great.
so fun when something like that happens and you're like, yeah, I'm not making this shit up.
Thank you, Spirit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. I'm so glad you received that
me too.
just when you needed it.
Yeah.
So would anyone like to volunteer to go first?
I'll go. I'll see what happens.
Okay.
Do you want us to narrate as we go along or
I think
just
that'd be great. It seems to work well for us.
okay? And I'm going to do an experiment because I had a teacher that said if I was wearing a beanie over my head, I wouldn't connect as well. And I just don't buy it. I think spirit can get through my cotton beanie, right?
Yeah.
It's always like, take it off. And I'm like, I don't know. Carol used to say that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't buy it.
How about an old tinfoil helmet?
Right? Like, okay. Um, okay. So I'm just gonna invite my soul to come forward to the forefront of my awareness. Setting the intention to connect to any energetic beings, any energetic benevolent beings that would like to come through with any information about this next year for us. What is it we need to know? Just opening up the space in my heart and in my body to receive. So I see a golden light in the distance. I hear bells. It's a playful energy. Feels like a group of energies coming together, like bells. What I'm seeing is, when people play Carol of the Bells, it's the bells coming together to create this beautiful sound. And it feels like these energies come together to create beautiful sound and messages. It's a very joyful energy. And I keep hearing the song Carol of the Bells. I don't know if you're familiar with the song, but it's like, hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. And it doesn't feel religious, the message in this. And when I was asking the intention for this next year, what we need to know, it feels like a carol of the bells opening next year. It feels that this is a year of good fortune and lightness. It feels like a chorus of voices coming together to sing a unified song. One that's lighter, less in misery. Celebration. This next year feels like it's about celebration, individual celebration, but celebration of these voices that have come together to create change. It feels like a year of surprises, delightful surprises. It feels like a celebration of all the work that those of us that have been on the path have done. A year of relief, abundance, a year to rejoice. And the voice is saying, sing in celebration, speak loud in celebration. Don't keep the celebration quiet. And it's reminding me of a conversation I just had with a client about spending time rejoicing in the good things that happen. We spend so much time in the misery, in the pain, and that this is a year of learning to rejoice in the goodness. Not only on an individual level, but a collective level. That we must stop integrating so much misery and integrate the beauty of the human experience. We talk about how hard it is all the time, but this is a year that shows us that, yes, there is hard and there is light, there is love, there is joy, there is balance. This is a year that some of us, I feel like, especially the three of us and those of us in our group and in the classes we work in that have been being so intentional with this work, really get to see the light side of life. There's relief, integration. But it's important to take time to honor all of it. Celebrate. Don't be afraid to talk about the good things. Share the news. Share it with those close to you. Share it with people. Use your voice to celebrate. And I love this song. I remember this song as a kid. I sang it and I was the alto, and I'm being shown this for a reason, because this harmony that comes together of these different voices, that so often we see them as separate or in comparison, but if we bring them together, we see this harmony of voices that is so powerful and has such a brilliant message. Harmonize with each other. Don't pit yourselves against each other, and don't compare. Harmonize. Appreciate the gifts in someone else. Appreciate their story. And remind yourself that you have unique gifts, and honor those gifts. Don't diminish them when you compare. Rejoice. Let your heart fill with love. Let it fill to the rim like a gas tank. Like, fill it up. Let it overflow. Don't be afraid to let it overflow. Don't be afraid to love too much. There's no too much. There's not enough love. Don't be afraid. You don't have to withhold your love. Love yourself. Love others. Spread love. Offer love. Kindness. Focus on the joy. Bring good tidings to you. Joyous news. Celebration. Do y'all have any questions? I don't know if I have time left, but
It's such a beautiful message. I don't have any questions. It sounds wonderful. Yana?
So beautiful. I wonder if these energies, there's a question that comes to mind just out of curiosity, what they might reveal or know or offer for myself and my clients and people. What do we do with the grief, the anger, the hurt, when we focus on the joy, when we turn to this invitation?
in everything, there's an honoring of it. It's not skipping over, but it's including the joy into all of it, because we are so focused on the hurt and the anger and the grief that we forget to leave room for joy. We forget to make room for those details in our life that bring us joy, the simplest things. We forget to soften our gaze. Our gaze gets hardened by the human experience. So it's to honor it. But when joy is experienced, rejoice. Put as much energy into rejoicing for the simple, beautiful moments of gratitude and joy as you do with the others. They need to be honored more equally. There's no bypass, no skipping around or skipping over. There's no excluding those feelings because they're part of the human experience. But notice when your gaze is focused on one more than the other. Can you integrate them into that. Because the ego trains us to focus on the negative or the painful, but the heart trains us to focus on the joyous. And which are we spending more time in? Our heart or our ego or our fear? Balance. There's not enough balance in the human condition, human consciousness, this planet, human earth.
Mm.
And rejoice for the pain because it moves you, it inspires you.
Mm.
Rejoice for the lesson you're learning. Say thank you to it. It's moving you to what's next. Don't be afraid of it or resist it. Welcome it. Open your arms to it and bring it close to you like you would a child and say thank you. Thank you for reflecting this back at me. Thank you for showing me where I need to grow. And don't pick yourself apart. That's a message for you, Deanna. I just heard it.
Mhm.
Don't spend so much time nitpicking, looking for fault,
Mm.
looking for where you might fall out of favor.
Mm.
Don't pull yourself like threads of spaghetti. Don't keep pulling. Don't look for threads because you can find a thread, you can loosen it and then unravel and feel down or in pain. There will always be a thread that you humans can pull. Oh, wow. There will always be a thread that we can pull to create suffering.
Mm.
If we're looking hard enough with a magnifying glass, where's that little thread? I will pick it. And notice what threads need to be pulled gently to release something and heal something. And what are we constantly pulling the same? Where are we creating frays in our system, in our bodies, and our energy? Where are we mindlessly over picking, over touching, over? Something doesn't need to be picked, tuck that gently back in and say, I love you. Judging what's necessary and unnecessary. What's a source of growth and what's a pattern of pain, ego, fear, trauma. The trick is to love yourself into wholeness, all the nitty-gritty parts.
Now, if you could take a few moments and just see if you can deepen this connection a little bit more and see if you could receive any more additional information about what or who you're communicating with, what part of yourself, or what is this?
There's a harmony of different sounds, different voices, and they're like higher than lower, like a choir. The light beings, the light beings, the light beings, the light beings is what I hear. They've never been human, but they love humans so much. They have a lot of respect for the human experience. They come forward because they want us to have the experience of unbounded joy. And I feel in my body, I just want to get expansive and brighter. And just for a moment, nothing matters but joy. It's so fascinating that everything can fall away in this connection and experience. Makes me want to sing, makes me want to rejoice.
I invite you to take that energy and that joy and infuse it into the people in your life, your home, your animals, your world. Your clients, your friends.
My human says to them and you, are we allowed to do that? Are we allowed to be joyful? Won't that make people uncomfortable because they'll be threatened by my joy? But that's the point, is to infuse more joy in this place. To bring the light. And they're telling me that that's where my work is right now, that vulnerability I've been feeling is also about opening my heart even bigger and being comfortable with being expansive and loving and happy and sharing that. And sharing that without feeling like it will draw negative attention to me or be threatening to another, that it can actually, this time, my light can be of service and I can be in it. It's not going to be the same as when I was a kid. And I can handle it. I get to believe in myself from now on. That little girl that keeps showing up, she's been warning me, if you believe in this, then it's threatening and dangerous, but that's not where we are anymore. That's part of why they've come to talk to me. It's time for me to embody the light that I am. Doesn't mean I don't have the human experience or will experience pain, but I get to find more balance. And I don't have to hide it or pretend. We get to share good news. We get to be proud of ourselves. We get to rejoice. Just the final is giving me that image of, remember, you're a part of a choir. You all sing in harmony, so everything we do, all our lights harmonize together. Whatever that looks like, creating something beautiful. If one of us doesn't turn our light on, then there's a gap in the system. It's like a flat key in like a piano or a flat string that's not strung tight enough. It's like, brrr. We have to bring our light in so we can all together rejoice and be in that space.
If you don't mind, Ashley, I'm going to ask you to thank the spirits, beings of light.
That was fun. They're fun. They're so fun. I don't want to let them go.
They dropped the mic. That was so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Oh, they were so fun. And it was so interesting to feel my human go, but, and it was like, no, like blow the lid off of joy. Like you get to do both. Haven't you been down to the depths? Go to the heights of joy, right? We don't do that. Not for long enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
So great. I had just this the whole time.
I want them to come back sometime. Maybe we can ask them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was hearing the music too.
And it
I
felt
thought that was fascinating. What'd you say?
it also felt like you were doing like an energy healing.
Mm.
You know, there was like a Reiki kind of energy transference coming on, like the three of us, I think.
Oh, could you feel it?
Definitely. I mean, and I could feel it in that music. I could feel it like that. You know, any music that's ever been that's them, their transmissions coming through people that just
And that song, I think of it as like a hymn, but it's a carol of the bells. And if you think of the words, it's really beautiful and rejoicing, whatever
it's
confusion in the
elevating.
church
Yeah.
is. And if you think of the buildup of tension in that song, when there's a
Momentum.
choir singing the
Yes.
momentum, and then it just like, oh, I love that feeling. I'm gonna have to like listen to it.
Totally. I could feel that. Oh, it's so beautiful
I
and
love the choir
twinkling.
image that we're all a choir and that we
Yeah.
have heart. That made me feel like, oh, yeah.
Mm, mm.
Oh, and there's another, the pulling at the threads. I just saw this image of us always looking for loose threads to pick or pull. And
And that's like the X factor distraction from that joy.
yeah. Yeah. Thank y'all for sharing that with me. That was
Awesome.
Oh,
Yay.
that's so beautiful to witness you like this.
Yeah.
just so free. It makes me want to cry. It's like, oh,
Oh, yeah, you were just so like, yeah, all of that
Exalted.
falling away that you were talking about, like how everything could just fall away in that all the language that came through around that was so beautiful.
thank you.
Ah, thank you. Mm.
Ooh.
Who else comes through? I can't wait. Who are y'all bringing through?
And it feels so much in alignment with what I was, listening to about the astrology and the time we're in too right now. Like we're here ushering that in.
I didn't listen to what you sent yet, but was it about that?
It was like a affirming, like also I think what we talked about last night of just letting go of the old patterns. And I don't remember, but and there was so much that there was so many specific points and overarching things, like there was so much information in that. But this felt like related to this expansive, beautiful shift into, it's like a new time frame. Every time we've been here in history, there's been like the fall of a major structure and expanse into, whether it was a government, religion, or oppression, like something, and then something opens up. We're coming into this, and it really feels like that, what you were talking about, this choir working together and really opening up to just elevate the spirit. Oh, it's so beautiful. So beautiful what you shared.
Thank you.
What came through.
Ray. All right, Deanna, are you ready?
All right. Mm. I open myself to be receptive, expansive, rooted, grounded, reaching to spirit, ancestors, guides, any energies, benevolent, spiritual, spirit guides, people, loved ones, energies that want to come through to share a message about what we're walking into at this threshold, anything we need to know. Any messages about this time we are moving through. I set that intention and open to receive. I have this sense of energies passing through me, like ancestors moving, like being cleared from, how do I put this? It came to mind this image I've had before of sort of like an infinity mirror of seeing the line of ancestors. And it feels like rather than seeing them, that there's this sort of shadow of energy, like passing through, or I'm moving through each one. And in that moment, there was this sense that this was a time of like, how do I put this into language? Like completion of gestalt, closure, fulfillment, healing, letting go, integration, synthesis, evolution, karmic resolution, repatterning. Yeah, and there's a sense of that kind of tapping modality of this rhythmic passing through, like the threshold of each generation, like the DNA, the imprints, like cataloging, moving through the catalogs, and not being them. There's like a release that happens as we're moving through those layers of, those ancestral layers of self, like as if you sliced like that image and three-dimensionally like pulled apart the slices of image of self, and like there's like so much information in each layer, in each hologram. And there's this sense of like a rewriting, cleansing, resetting, clearing the slate, not reprogramming. It's not a reprogramming, it's like a defragmentation of the drive of the layers that had been in each generation, had been programmed. So in a way, it is a little bit of a deprogramming. It's kind of like I'm seeing these lights and, you know, firing, like these activations of cellular evolution that creates knowing for the next generation. And sometimes it's good, like finding, I'm remembering being shown the memory of a documentary about how after many generations the monkey just knew where that spot, where to go, where that fruit was, where the food was, without having been shown it, just because they carried that through the DNA. But then also trauma can be carried forth, or characteristics, or like, so all of these gaps that had hampered the potential, right, of our ability, our joy, our capacity, our, you know, all of the stuff that had either been shut down or overcharged. And yeah, there's this sense of cataloging, not experience, but like essence. And as I come to this point, I feel a calming, soothing sensation come over me, as if all of these layers that had been just over activated or misshapen just kind of dissolve into this settled, it's the word that comes through, aligned state. I'm just going to connect with that energy and acquire further about what I'm being shown, or who's showing this to me, and what this energy is.
And breathe into this energy. Allow it to expand.
It feels very expansive. It feels really like Ma'at is coming, is what comes through as this all pervasive function of balance. And I've been working here, really it was my whole being, but where my hand has been is sort of been in front of my heart on the left side too. So that feels significant, but it feels like this energy expands through all of dimensional space, and it's I don't want to say heavy, dense, dark, because it doesn't have the connotations that those words do, but there is a sort of a, not gravity, but gravitas, like a deep exhale of presence. Presence is not right either. And I hear this high ring. It's like the absence of everything. I feel like, floating in space, in darkness, even saying things like the cosmic womb, that seems even too intangible than what this feels like. It's like breath, like the heartbeat. It's like the center of the earth. It's like a big black cozy blanket that's both heavy and fluffy and soft at the same time. I feel like I'm being shown this sort of like dancing hippo too, like the old cartoon. This polarity of heaviness and lightness. This gentleness. And I feel this rippling on like both sides of my being, like vertical rippling waves. That's like both like a massage and like a reminder to say to be malleable, but it's like kneading dough that transforms something without really, you're not changing any ingredients, but there is an action that catalyzes cellular shifts, like the motion of these soft rippling waves and pulsations. The friction, the movement just causes a reaction, a movement. A release, an expansion. I feel like this was a clearing, healing for me, but it's also an information about the time we're in and what's happening to people and what's involved, the timeline of generations and these palpitations that are transforming life as we know it, life on earth, life as a human, transforming us as humans, what it is to be human. It's going to be different without carrying forward all that we've been carrying and how we've been living. So if we don't need the codes that told us this was how we would survive, right? We're going to be functioning completely differently in how we move forward living on this earth. And maybe this state of being that I feel is an indication of what that baseline will be. This equanimity, this deep relaxation of the nervous system. And the friction is no longer about surviving. The friction now is about kneading the dough to let it rise, about massaging and energy, ripples of energy, these subtle waves, being able to sense even these subtleties from this deeper, relaxed baseline of being. And it's not a vertical, like, grounded versus being out of body or ascension or fight or flight, anxieties or compulsions. It's more of this like, yeah, horizontal, dimensional integration, awareness of the multiple plane dimensions on this horizontal plane. I was inquiring about what it would be to engage sexually, erotically in this plane. And it was really slow to arrive at the understanding that I can't even comprehend what it would be like, because it's so different. I have no frame of reference. Like the frame of reference I have for sexual union in the past was so one-dimensional compared to this depth of experience of union, that it's not a visual thing of like even imagining my arms and legs wrapped around your body, Freddie. It's comes back to this just blank dark slate of being so relaxed and peaceful. And that the more I can move into that space, the more my body will open, and I'm moving my hands like down this way, like my root opening down and expanding. But it's not even an image of my root chakra or my body. It's this ma'at. It's this deep bass harmonic. I'm going to say balance, but it's just is vast and timeless. sublime. It's almost like this space that I'm connected to is the, yeah, there's timelessness and everything's really slow, and it's like the longest arc of time measurement. Subspace. Do you have any questions?
I don't have a question.
I'm wondering if you want to direct any of this deep, slow healing, defragmentation, peaceful energy out, or invite people into it.
My initial feeling was to send this deep rippling wave out around the world to infuse this sense of slow time everywhere. And then I felt very much connected to, but not as being, but in relation to very much the rocks. Felt the trees first, but the rocks, like everything that moves really slowly on this earth knows this fulcrum center of Ma'at.
All right, Tiana, if you're ready, thank this energy and come back.
I'm feeling that kinship with the earth. in all its life that knows well this deep balance. I'm so grateful to connect with this and for the insight and the journey that I was taken on to fall into this deep space. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm. Wow, what a choir it is together with that like outer, not outer, inner, that space, and then the joy. Like it's not even like low and high. It's multi-dimensional, but it, for sake of illustration, just imagining that choir like together, that there's this and there's this, and just so beautiful.
It was like the bass. Mine was the soprano. That was the bass. Yeah, it felt like just like a massage. It was so just deep and slow. And there's a couple times I was kind
Yeah.
of nodding off in trance, but I feel like I just got energetically. And I loved you said something about cellular change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a clearing and a cleansing, like a counteraction of like that like crazy energy that we feel so commonly these days. It's such a slow down.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Deep,
Mm.
deep resonance.
It was so healing and clearing and wild to feel that, like as the ancestors passed through me, or like we were going through some threshold together and being changed as we passed through, or as they passed through me, or as I passed through them, through this base space. Yeah.
I got a vision of like a deep subterranean lake that's just completely still.
Oh, so still and silent. Yeah. Mm.
So soothing. I kept seeing like colors of clay and earth and just
Mm.
I just like colors of like blues and reds and blacks and grays, but swirly and earth. Yeah.
This, another dimension of earth and space is like connecting with, the multi-dimensional baseline or something.
Mm,
Wow. Thank you.
beautiful.
Mm. What beautiful transmissions. Freddie, you want to do one?
No, I'm good. It's good to hold space for the two of you tonight.
Thank you, Fred. That's so nice.
Yeah.
That was fun. It's just every time we do it, it just builds like more confidence and feels
Mm.
stronger, you know.
It's different.
Mm.
Like, who knew what was going to come through?
And they were just so, the energy was just so different, but so good in their own ways. It was like a different response in the body. So
Yeah, and I feel very they were very complimentary.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea what was going to come through. At the top of our gathering, I was seeing what you brought yesterday with my grandmother walking through the water and feeling that ancestral mermaid, Mami Wata. So I thought something like that was going to come through. Just something completely astral.
Wow.
And in a lot of ways, it was exactly what you needed, I think, was like the energy's been so like so high speed and so much happening for the last few weeks. This is like such a tonic to all of that.
Mm.
And a washing, a clearing of so many layers that were activated in the last few weeks, probably like layers of ancestors that get activated in me in this lifetime of trauma or whatever. So it was really a big resolution of healing for me.
Mm.
Like, I wonder, yeah, this happened last time I did trance with you, Freddie, in that other class where I went into trance, and it was like a personal healing with the heart.
Mm.
And then this dragon and phoenix and clearing, and the children coming up out of their hole and being integrated into me. Like, they didn't want to stay in their safe space anymore. They were happy and felt good about coming out into the world and being integrated into my heart.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was huge. There was like this chamber where there's this dark, frightened, and she didn't quite want to come out yet. And she became this like dragon and phoenix and rise from the ashes. And it was amazing. It was a healing. And I feel like something like that took place just now for myself again.
Mm.
I don't need to pay anybody else. I just need a trance circle space.
So,
The important space, the three of us working together is really important.
it's so good. I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
So relaxed.
Yeah, that was a like, oh, I could have gone and laid in bed, listened to it.
That would be interesting to listen to both of those again.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
Looks like you have a neon earring, Freddie.
At one point, your light was just right here. They have like a light. Yeah, I don't know if you could see it, but when you were talking, it like all lit up.
Mm.
Who?
You,
Ashley?
Deanna.
Oh, me? Oh, like the light coming through from here?
Mhm.
Wow.
Mm. All right, who would like to close the circle?
Oh, well,
Okay.
thank you. Okay. So coming back to our breath, coming back to the present moment, back to our bodies, allowing the breath to integrate the experiences of the past 2 hours, of the energy connected to, the energy held, transmuted, expressed, allowing the breath to support our bodies, healing. Thank you, Fred, for bringing us together in this way and for guiding and supporting us. And Deanna, for your courage to receive the connection and to stay with it and to allow for the messages to come through. Just so much gratitude to Spirit and the energies that surrounded us and supported us this evening and always. It's so wonderful to know that we are never alone. And to know that when we open up our hearts and our soul connection, that there is something there waiting to delight us, to guide us, to support us, to love us, to gaze upon us with grace and awe for our human lives. So as we go through the next few weeks until we meet again, may we remember these messages. May we remember the light of our hearts, the light of our souls. May we remember joy. May we remember the resonance of the deep message of Mott. So be it, and so it is.
So be it. So it is.
Mhm. Thank you so much.
Yeah, until we meet again. Will we meet next
Mhm.
Wednesday?
Let's do it.
Back on the same? Okay.
Why not?
All right. Sounds good. Love y'all.
Love you too.
Ooh.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.